Alright, in this video I'm going to just walk you through a creation of a simple list and also some basic list modifications at the creation time. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to, now I still retain the list grouping, so if you haven't list groupings, you can create your list groupings. So I'm going to move straight into the creation. So there's nothing to search here, so I'm not going to do any search functionality. I just need to create. There's no leases in this current database. So the first thing I'm going to need to do to demonstrate this is a lease. So I'm going to just copy some lease, a particular lease information in. So suppose it's a motor vehicle, and I need a reference for that motor vehicle, and so you must select a lease group. So asterisks indicate that those two fields are a must. So it's a motor vehicle, and as you can put a reference. I'm not going to type that in. So now this lease is a monthly lease, and the lease is prepaid. So once you've got this basic data in here, you just save it. Then you will be the lease data section will open up. Now this lease started on the 1st of the year 2021, and the lease term is 60 months, and the incremental borrowing rate is 5%. It's not denominated in foreign currency, so you just leave that as is. So in order to record the entry, as you can see, it's been edited still. You'd need to click out of it. As you click out of it, you'll be able to see the sections. By the way, there's also help at each of these items if you need help on what sort of data goes into that area. So this is basically, I'm not going to put any incentives and stuff at the moment. I will demonstrate that in a second. Now, the next thing you're going to need to do is to put in your lease installments for the 60 period. Now, if you like, you can enter them one at a time, which is not an efficient way to do it. So you just go to populate, and monthly interest or monthly repayment of 880 here, and you're starting from the first period. Starting from the first period, I'm doing for all 60 installments here. So you just say apply, and it applies it to all of the installments. You can also have an incremental installment by incrementing it by a fixed amount or a percentage. So this is how you create your initial leases. This section is mainly for if you're going to rely on your initial entries to do your modifications, but I'll cover that when you're going into lease modifications in the next videos. Alright, so once you have got your lease installments done, as you can see, the lease has already been calculated here for you, and you have got your lease entries to take it up. So as you can see, there is an initial entry for the first installment to cash. That's because it is paid in advance. If it was paid in arrears, you'd notice that the whole amount ends up being in your lease liability. Now in this case it was a prepayment, so I'm going to keep it as a prepayment. So that is the basic creation of a lease. Now in addition to that, you can do, you may, it's unlikely for a car, but if for example you had your initial 3 months were free, so you can just make them 0 here, and as you make them 0, you can see that the lease is recalculated, and so is your initial entry. Now initial entry, you have nothing for the initial installment because it was free, so you will not have an amount to recognize there. So that is one type of a simple modification that you might do. So likewise, if somewhere during the track in some particular months you get some sort of lease reduction, you can simply do that and it will recalculate your leases for you. Another incentive could be is that instead of getting, put this back to 880, apply that. So instead of getting the 3 months free, maybe they gave you your registration free. So I'm not going to type it in here, but I'm just going to put in the amount. Say suppose the registration was 750. So you got an incentive. So I'll have a quick look here with the incentive. So basically, if you receive an incentive, you'll need to enter it as a negative value, and if it's a cost, it's going to be as a positive value because it's going to impact on your lease asset. So as you received the rego free for $750, you just enter it in there and click out of it, and you can see that it has actually impacted onto the asset, and it has taken that modification. And you can also see here that there was an incentive received based on the description. Okay, so that's how the lease incentives and this section would work. And also likewise, if there is a restoration, which you will not have for a car, but if there's a restoration expense, you will enter it here. So that is how you would go about creating a basic lease. Now, for example, if there was a modification, I'm just going to do a modification here. Suppose so there was a modification, say, now any modification must occur in a subsequent month. So suppose after say December 2001, so we say in December 2021, the lease period is still 60 and your incremental borrowing has not changed for this particular asset. So you click out and it'll record that. So as you can see here, it is showing as no installment because we haven't put in the installment whether there's been any modification. But as there was no modifications to the installments, I'm just going to repeat the 880 and apply there. Alternatively, you could have just hit apply and it will have copied the previous lease payments over as well. So there was two options there. Now, so on this particular day, so as you can see, there's no change to the lease as such from this particular entry. There's no entry to go through because there's been no change. Now I'm going to record the impairment. So the impairment is suppose the asset on in December, which is around here. Now the asset value is 36,000, but it's going to be impaired by say 10,000, and you need to click the impairment button here for that impairment to show. Okay, for you to record it, you need to click out of the editing line. Okay, and as you can see here, after December, the asset value has declined, the depreciation has been adjusted. You also get an adjusting entry to record your impairment, and that's how that basic impairment or basic modification works. And that's it when it comes to recording your lease and also doing a basic modification. I will be covering in the next video a bit more. Well, I wouldn't call them involved. It's pretty similar to this basic modification, but I will show you how you go about doing a number of lease modifications in the next video.